come. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
Yay! Christina, we're back here again.
Yes, this time goes by so fast. A couple of weeks already.
Really, time goes so quick. No, but then I suppose I've done a few things in the time that's been, right. That's a good thing. So I had my workshop on Thursday. That went very well. So I'm quite happy with that. So our workshop's coming up next. That's on the one on the 31st of March that we just moved. I'm excited. So we just have to get stuff done in the middle, right? We have to get stuff done. Not the saying I always have is, don't count the hours, make the hours count.
Exactly.
Use the time wisely, even though it seems to be flying by. Maybe it's our age, Christina. I haven't said how old we are, so I'm saying maybe it's our age.
Yeah, 22. I'm feeling it.
There comes a time when time just flies by, right? And when you were younger, things took longer.
When I was 15, it was much easier.
I tell you, maybe because it was school days. School days were long and boring, whereas now we have more freedom, more choice. More creating stuff. Time just goes, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. How are you otherwise?
I'm great, and it's funny that you mentioned that. I now try to see. This year I never did a goal list. This is what I need to do by Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. But instead, I'm doing something every week. I'm looking at a week, and I'm reflecting on: did I do anything? Is anything happening because of what I did? Right? Do I need to pivot and go from there? And at first, it was a little bit, not really set in stone. So I had to get used to this routine. But now things are starting to click, and that really works for me. Last week, if you would have asked me, on the spot, I would say I don't think I did much. But then when I look back, I was like, oh, I set up a couple of meetings to do an additional class with the school I support, and I'm having this event now, and we discussed the master class on the 31st. Something else happening on Wednesday. So it's not like I didn't do anything last week. Definitely things are happening. And that's what, we need to really look at what we do as business owners and, build the momentum out of that, because momentum is only built out of what you do.
I agree. I agree. I agree. It's very easy to think we're doing nothing, and that's, I guess that can be crippling if you it can hold you back if you let it hold you back, right? I think being able to celebrate our successes, being able to celebrate the things that we have done, the progress we have made. That's of course that can be motivating.
Yeah. And on that note, the title of this event, right? You call, I love that you call it a paradox. We do events, and I had events that add up to 200, 250 RSVPs, right? But then only 20 to 30 people showed up. And I have events where I get 30 RSVP and 5 people show up. And what does it mean? Does it mean that it failed? I don't think so. It just means that, not everybody is on your same schedule. Not everybody has the time to sit through these events for an hour, but something happened in the process. What happened is that the topic that you offered did something, shook something in someone. So there was an interest there. And that's what we have to look at, especially if we do, if you do live events or participate in live events. I think among the audience here today, or people that will play this on replay, you are, people that are listening to this. You're running businesses. You're doing lives. You're a speaker at this event or that event. You're frantically either try to become a guest of an event, or you're receiving invitations and you're going there and you're showing up and you're building that authority through those. But what happens afterwards? That's a real question. What happens afterwards that has an impact on what you do and your business? And when you went to a live, when you participated on a live, or you decided to go live yourself, did you have, what was your intent? The intent of those that are RSVPing those topics that we are offering, but what is your own intent when you decide to turn the switch and be live? So those are all questions that we really have to ask ourselves. I like joining lives. I love joining lives with Annie. I do others with Americo da Costa, others with Lee Garcia. Sometimes I do random ones, or I'm a guest at a podcast. But each time, I don't do these things randomly. I really work with the host, or if I'm by myself, on what the title is, what the topic is. And I want to make sure that it is one that I have value to offer, that it is one that is aligned with what I do and what my business does, so that I'm known for that, so that there is a footprint for that, and so that those that are here listening, either live or on replay, you guys get to know me. You get to know who I am, what do I sound like. So this is what I actually do. And I take about 20-30 minutes to plan this out. I think of events, not just one, but over time, all the events that you've done in the course of a couple of weeks to a month, as a list building tool. You bought into the funnels. You bought into build your email list. You bought into all those ads that you see on LinkedIn about what if LinkedIn disappears today? How do you connect with your network? It's all going to be gone, right? Well, Alive, it's a list building tool. If somebody RSVPs to your event, they're saying, I'm interested in what you're discussing. What does it mean? Is that a license to go ahead and spam them with your offers and all your prices and come by this and come by that? Absolutely not. But it is an opportunity to build those relationships. And it is an opportunity to ask the right questions. If somebody has an interest in this particular event, and whether they can make it or not, I'm curious. I will simply ask, "Hey, I noticed your SVP this event. What piqued your interest? What are you working on? Do you do a lot of lives?" So just starting to have the conversations about why this was important to them enough to click RSVP, and why I actually picked this particular topic and why it is aligned with what I do. So what I care about is that somebody clicked and that somebody said, yes, this is of interest to me. And one thing that I definitely don't do, and not because I'm not thankful, is sending, after the event, well, thank you for coming, or thank you for SVPing, and end the conversation there, because then I forget all about what my own goal is on picking, when I decided to pick this topic. I'm talking about myself, but really talking about every entrepreneur and everybody that decides to go an event. And I'm the perfect example. I actually built this into a system to feed a pipeline. And to me, a pipeline is never a list that you put on an automation tool with a bunch of emails, like people treat email lists these days. Put it in there and have email shots in automation launched. To me, a pipeline is something that I refresh fairly often, sometimes once a day. And those that are in the pipeline is not just prospects. It's also people that can be supporters, you can collaborate with, and people that can open doors. So this tool that we have here within LinkedIn, these attendees list, it's a list, and it's a list that you cannot just let it pile up. Oh wow, it felt really good. 300 people said RSVP to my event. Okay, but did you get to know any of them? Did you get to meet anybody out of those? So what's happening, I think that a lot of us entrepreneurs forgot that this was a tool. And for a while, I did too. I was busy with my posting, and I'm still busy and believe very strongly in my newsletters, busy in doing outreach, busy booking calls and all that. But all of a sudden, or even building a funnel or building a lead magnet to do this very task, the task of building a list. But what we forgot is that there is one right here within LinkedIn. And it doesn't mean that it's all hot leads, right? Uh, but it is kind of warm. There's a warm leads. There are people that expressed an interest. Will everybody that RSVP'd become a paying client? Probably not. I was just having a conversation with Annie that in a week or 2 weeks worth of events, I get to convert 2 to 3 people. And not by massively bugging them, right? But because I asked the right question at the beginning. What interested you? What problem are you trying to solve? And then if I do have a solution, that's my cue to say, well, I do have a solution if you ever want to discuss it. The second somebody actually wants to discuss them and they're serious, they'll be the one to say, I want to talk to you. I need to talk to you. I want to, I want to resolve this once and for all. So in a nutshell, RSVPs, yes, it is the biggest paradox. People are not showing up, and you might think the event failed, or only the 10 people that showed up out of 70 are interested, and I'm going to just pay attention to those because they were here and they were live. I think it's equally important, and the people that did not attend are actually perhaps more important because they wanted to, they intended to, but then something happened in their daily routine or lives, or they were hoping they were free on this particular day at that particular time, but then something else came up. Perhaps something very important. They actually booked the client themselves, right? So I wouldn't necessarily discount the people that don't turn up on the live, and especially here on LinkedIn when we keep promoting this. I'll see you on team replay because we know that people are replaying. If you look at the past events you participated in, you actually see it. Oh, it was viewed 163 times. It was viewed 230 times. And you had 10 attendees. Okay, so your audience was definitely bigger than that, right? Whether it came from from outside of LinkedIn or within LinkedIn. So if you get that many views, the topic is beginning to resonate. So what the work that needs to happen after the event ends is keeping on discussing what you just talked in the events. those people that couldn't make it, you might message them asking the question or just simply providing value. Hey, I'm not sure if you made it today, if you were here, you know, because sometimes people listen and you just don't see them anyway, so you're not sure if they're listening on another platform. And provide a little recap, a 1 minute to 2 minutes recap. These are the topics we discussed today. And that is not something that you do because you're expecting a response. Hey, I sent you a message, you're coming or not responding back. You only want to really deal and build the pipeline upon those people that say, oh, interesting, that's what you discussed. And they begin engaging in a conversation with you about the event that they didn't miss. Also, this very topic is valuable content for your LinkedIn content or other platforms that you're using. So if you took time out of your schedule to go on a live stream and discuss something, then it can become a helpful carousel or post. It can become the topic of a newsletter, or sometimes it's reverse engineer. The topic of a newsletter can become the topic of a live stream, and so on, just to keep the conversation going about this very event. And when you do these posts and people start engaging with it, even if it's 2 or 3 people, guess what? You can send them the link to the live that you had that is recorded. And that way, when they have a chance, they can take a look or skip and listen to some of the parts. So what you're essentially doing out of this RSVP is you're connecting with people. You're connecting with people within context. The context is the subject of the event. So, as somebody that is the main person that discusses the subject of the event, you have to make it your business to promote this topic over the course. Today, I will probably promote this topic for at least for the next 10 days, talking about building an attendee list. Now, the thing that about an email list and the LinkedIn RSVP list is that somebody did not decide, hey, I'm going to share my email with you. I'm checking a sign here and I want to hear about all of your updates. That's not what's happening here. People that RSVP to the events, they were interested in this particular topic or related topics. So when you first send your first message, I noticed your RSVP, not sure if you made it or not, here's the recap. Those that are really interested and they really intended to, and they took time to read your message within the next 4 to 5 days, because not everybody is looking at their messages every day on LinkedIn, they will tell you, yes, this was interesting to me, or I'm interested in what you're doing. Sometimes people say, hey, please let me know next time you're live. So those are the things, right? So those are the relationship that you build. The rest, you might send them another message if you have another event, maybe the next week or within a week. But then, you let them go, because it's really, it doesn't do you any favor to focus on something that is not there yet, where there was a little interest, but then there is no communication. What you need to really focus all your energy in is on those people that are immediately responding to your messages. And if they respond immediately, then they either probably know you better than you realize, they follow you and they look at your events and read your newsletters and things like that, or they listened a little bit, or they read the description of the event, they read the recap that you sent, and they decided that there was some value here. So your intent is the one, I'm going to offer enough value because that's how I'm building my business. I'm building my business by showing up. I'm building my business when I do a post that offers value. I'm building my business when I do a newsletter that offers value. I'm building my business when I do a comment that offers value. And I'm building my business when I am on a live and I'm discussing a topic that I'm an expert of. So this is, part one of what actually needs to happen when somebody RSVPs your event, when you go live, and really never lose sight of the reason why you're doing this event. Bigger picture for me, today's topic and today's event is very simple. I help those that are trying to build their business and grow their business, and they want to monetize their expertise and what they do. I help those that are trying to build a profitable pipeline so that they don't have to guess where their paycheck is coming from next month. So I help those creating a cash flow out of what they're doing and what they're building. So LinkedIn, no, LinkedIn is not your business. Your business is the product and the services that you offer. But instead of going crazy, building the next big lead magnet, right? Or that most perfect funnel that is gonna get you a bunch of name, and then you're just gonna go and put them on some automation tool, a CRM, and just blast everybody. Just really pay attention to what's happening when you're taking those actions, who's responding. And just going live for an hour or two and then forgetting all about it. Camera is off, nobody emailed me. That's not going to work. The real work happens afterwards. The real work happened when you see who responded to your initial invites. So for this event, for example, I did use the LinkedIn invites, but I also sent a lot of manual messages, simply saying, we're going to be live soon. We're live tomorrow. This is the topic that we are send a lot of DMs, because my hope is, actually it's not a hope, I know that now I'm in somebody's inbox, LinkedIn inbox. The message is there. Perhaps today they couldn't, they were taken out of their screens and their computers. They couldn't be here. And maybe your computer blew up. Things happen in life. But in a few days, when they check, they'll see, what did I miss? Oh, I have an invite to this. It's alive. Then they get a recap. Oh, that's what they talked about. I think I want to let me see what this was about. I had messages of people that said, I listened for 1 hour on replay, and it was very informative. So that's a good review of an event that you can do. And that was for somebody that couldn't make it. So really utilizing all of your real estate. I think on LinkedIn, this going live and live streaming is still new to us, because for so long we were used to having those long conversations in audio rooms, and we all panicked when they disappeared. But in reality, I think it made us better. Just like these days, everybody's worried about what's happening with the visibility and the algorithm. When those audio rooms, improv podcasts basically, were gone, actually we received a gift, because when you did those audio rooms, they were never recorded. They were just done. 1 hour, 3 hours of talking and discussing things. And maybe if you were deliberate about it, you use that list as well, and you tried to have the conversations after that, but you didn't have something really valuable to you, which was a recording to the event, that if somebody missed out on the particular topic, now they have something to go back and look at, or you can actually listen to it yourself. Like I do that for most events. I listen back. I'll see how it went, what it looks like, and if I think I was good, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of the topics that were discussed and how the conversation went, I'll I'll use the link and send it to potential clients, prospects, people that want to get to know me better. And you say, I do this periodically. Here is a link, and then I'll invite them to the next one. And surprise, surprise, they end up sending an RSVP when I invite them to other events. Annie, do you want to add anything?
I think it's an interesting topic. Of course, it affects me because I do events. How you doing, Zara? Let me welcome our friends, and then I will share some thoughts. Sharon Rose, how you doing? Good to see you. Gratitude is the attitude, right? And good to see you, Linda. I see you too. How are you? Met with Linda last week. Interesting lady, always doing interesting things. Prof, I see you too. Welcome, welcome. To the amazing Curtis. So glad you're all here. Who else is here? And I think that's most people I've welcomed. If you're on our LinkedIn and I can't see you, do forgive me. Do have a heart, right? I think Christina and I have our LinkedIn on, so normally that means StreamYard was split and then get all confused on who's where, right? So you show up on one, not on the other. You don't show up on both. You don't show up on StreamYard, which is, or Restream, should I say. Right. Look, of course, this topic, given that I do more events than anyone else, I see this topic play out every day. I think I was at a launch for a new service, Huge Smiles, Topoloba's Huge Smiles, on Saturday. When I went to log in, I saw there's 998 RSVPs. So now you're thinking, yeah, it's going to be a packed room. It's going to be engaging conversation, lots of people being active. And I think we're lucky if we had 20 people. And it's very easy to get down about that sort of situation. You think, why did they bother RSVP? They were never going to turn up. Were they ever going to turn up? You don't, like you say, Christina, we don't know. You don't know that something happened but something couldn't have happened that took out 990 people, surely. I'm saying, where are the rest of them? It can be really, really frustrating. Now, for what I do, I'm sure many of you who are here would know, because you get my DMs. I do a lot of DMs for every event. There's many reasons I do. There's many reasons I do DMs, and there's many options for which DMs I send. So the first people I'm going to DM for our event is people who RSVP'd for the last event. As you say, Christina, clearly they have an interest in what we talk about, right? So whether they join us or not, I get over it by just making sure I invite those first, because I keep them top. I use that list. That list is golden. That list is golden. I tell my new friends, my new clients I'm going to do events with, we just need to get through the first one and have a list. Have a list of people, real people. Whether they show up or not, neither here nor there, right? And then when you do a second event, you have two lists. Third event, you get the idea, right? Every time we do an event, our list gets bigger. I can invite all 4 lists on the DMs. Of course, then you begin to work out who is serious. Why would that person, RSVP? Some people just RSVP just so that you can DM them again. So you can message them afterwards. They have no intention of ever coming, and for whatever reason, I'm thinking someone like many people who live in Zara's part of the world, our events are on too late for them. It's 3 a.m. They're never going to join, but they like you to DM them. It can be rather annoying. Of course, now we're talking about what do you DM them with? I wouldn't DM them with a sales pitch for sure, like you said, Christina. That's pointless, because you can't go from RSVP to selling in one leap. That's just silly. It doesn't work. You have to. It's about leveraging that list to find a way to meet them, to understand what they need, to understand what their interests are, what their problems are. And then you can say, right, either we can help you or we can't help you. But my response always to anyone who's on my RSVP list is, come to our next event. Come to our next event. If you like it, then we can talk potentially. If there's something that you really want to discuss, then let's discuss it. Because then I know that you're interested in what we do, our services. But I'm always going to give you a chance to say yes or no. Because what you can't do, which many people do, is ignore the RSVP list. Never ignore it, because everything that's good is there. I'm saying those who turn up, yeah, they're great, because you can fast track the process of getting to know them. But the ones who don't turn up, you can still do the work to get to know them afterwards. I don't send here's an extract from this session. I don't like you that much. I do too many events, Christina. So I can't.
It really depends if it's a topic.
Right now, I think my co-hosts, and they should really, because the list is there. Now, what are they doing? They said, I'm on to the next event. I'm on to two more events, three more events. When you say every 2 weeks, now I'm looking at what, 20, 25 events. And I'm saying, unless you got those sort of numbers, nothing stops you DMing people who are on our RSVP list, and I get to know them. What's the worst they're going to say to you? Go away? I'm not interested? Yes, that's the worst they're going to say. Now, some will complain. How dare you? I know. How dare you DM me? Like, depending on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I smile and let it go. Other times I get angry. I'm like, you RSVP'd for my event, so I can message you when I feel like it. Now, again, that's a rule that not everyone knows, Christina. If you go to an event with someone, LinkedIn lets you message them freely, almost forever. Even if you never connect with them. So I learned this very early in the audio days. If someone comes to my event, I can DM
And you don't
them.
talk about it. I know. And you don't talk about it, otherwise they're going to charge it.
Uh, true, true, true. But no, so now look, your RSVP list is a golden list. Work the list. Just be sensible how you use it. Zara, talk to us. And how do you use it? How do you use your RSVP lists? I know you're about to start doing events, aren't you?
you know, Any about all this business thing, and thank you for that. When you were telling me, I learned about how 1,000 people and how to select that location from US and specify. So it's what I'm learning is because in my business it's about products, and this business has actually forced me to become a better version of myself. Will actually this profession actually force you, because if you're going to survive here, you have to get better. And the greatest gift was not something that I'm going to earn lots of money. It was not the skills to recruit any or to recruit anybody else, or how to sell. It wasn't that. But the greatest benefit was this profession, which I'm like into it, has forced me to become something. I mean, any other job couldn't give me that thing, that
Mm,
growth which I'm having. So what I'm saying is, कि at times what I'm learning, कि you uh, have to know your people. Now, right now, I was with 101 with Kimberly. Okay, I
mm,
prospect them actually. Now I went to the DM and I said, what time best suits for you, because if you can say hello, because I was in Leslie's event and I was listening there. And then I went to Kimberly and I gave her a message on the DM. I didn't told anything about my business, okay, at that moment, but I just invited her to Google Meet, okay, and things, because she wanted to know about me, and it was like the first time after like many years we were on the camera first time, and she's a relationship builder. She coaches other about how to get better relationships. So she had her own niche, and about my business, that is something absolutely about the products. So when I started the conversation, told her about, I reminded her about everything, like how, like who I was, because you remember like who I am, but many people they. So I said who I was, and what happened, a little bit about my story, about the losses and everything, and now from to Lahore and starting this business. Look, but at the time, my products, she thought it's a sale call at once. So it was not the sale call. It was just to that I'm just into some business which I really wanted to grow. And she was like, I thought, Sarah, you need to build first relationships with people. I said, yes, I've been building relationships with people. Uh, but so what do you really want? Well, I said, I need to have those 20 customers, which is not possible here in Pakistan at this, because it's easy to find those customers around the world, because people already know that this company is there on that part of the world. Though, so she said, Zarar, I think you need to learn about how to build relationships first and how to tell your story. Because the more you connect with your story, and you can come up with those products, and you need to have your presentations, everything. But the point is, like, the business what I'm doing, it's not a new business. There are so many. When I was talking with the Mac in the message, and I said, Mac, this is an opportunity. And Mac, he said, Mac Lubish, right, from the UK. And he said to me one thing, I've been involved in a lot of MLM companies in the past, and now I wanted to build something of my own. Now, when people say MLM, so there is some, that when you talk about that it at once give me an idea. Okay, they have been involved in something, and now because they and this business has a reputation problem. When I say MLM and people surprise, oh, no. Another one? Yeah. Easy money? Are you talking about easy money? Oh, how many people did you scam to rip off to get to be on the top? And I think we need to talk about it, when people say this, because this business has a reputation problem. Some bad eggs did something wrong, but it doesn't mean the model does not work. And it doesn't mean that we should also quit when you have been involved in so many companies. That means there is something wrong in your approach. Your execution was not right. And I'm not going to say it all nonsense, because it's not. It's not. The hate didn't appear out of nowhere. There are always bad eggs, people in every space. Now, I'm going to talk about my business, because income, when people come into this business, the worst thing they do is they say income claims, which are not real. And then they focus on recruiting people who should have stayed as customer. No, and then copy pasting messages like I was doing in the starting. I used to write a message, copy and tuck paste. That's the worst thing you can do with this business.
I agree.
Hype culture instead of growth culture. So, and then products that nobody wanted to buy on that price. And I have also learned one thing: when somebody comes to you, like how Mac was saying me, I've been involved into lots of MLM companies. Come on, okay. And when people say deposit some money, you must be to invite someone to invest. That is what scam is. So now thousands of people who had a bad experience, they have some opinion about it, because that was their own failure, that they didn't execute it well, or they didn't choose the company which was appropriate. Now let's talk about banking. Banks
Hmm?
have caused financial crisis, Annie. Okay, there are lots of banks, like people who are working scandals, frauds. But
Yes.
banking is a scam? No.
No, no, of course not. Look, I think your sector has a set of unique issues, which I'm sure you're discovering, right? Well, look, I will take a couple of your points for sure, which is that you have to be very careful what the follow-up message is to your list. Because you don't want to be you don't want to come across as pitching, as pitch slapping people, as trying to sell to them. So I was talking this morning, and I think the model I always use is simply what I call sell like a doctor. Sell like a doctor means only sell to people that you can help. You've assessed them, you built that relationship, you've diagnosed the problem, and your solution is a solution. There's no you can help them, and then you might want to tell them. But even then, I would not tell them in that first DM. I would have no. I think Christina. Hopefully, you agree. It's about building a slow relationship. It's a conversation, and many of us get frustrated and want to hurry up to say, right, here it is. Let me give you an example. When I was doing my tickets sales for my conference last week, one day I just woke up with the idea. Okay, don't send them the link to buy a ticket. Just send one DM that says, "Do you want to buy a ticket? Can I trust you to buy a ticket or not?" That was the only question I asked them. And those who came back with a no, I know they're not my real friends. It's fine. Those who came back with a yes got the link, and they bought tickets. I'm saying that's the level of slowness you have to have. Of course, by the time we got to Wednesday night, Christina, or maybe Thursday day, the conference was Thursday evening, our time, right? Thursday day, I'm like, I haven't got time to wait for a response. I'm just going to send you the link. Not a single person bought more from
Mhm.
me just being the hard sell guy. It didn't work. I'm saying taking it slowly, having a conversation, getting to know who people are and what their needs are, what the situation is. All of that counts, if you ask me. Christina, before I give you the mic, my friends, let me welcome the ladies whose name I can't pronounce. Maranatha. Hopefully, I pronounce your name somewhere close, right? Welcome, welcome. I see Dr. Lisa's here, menopause genius. Philip, welcome. Glad you're here. Curtis is dropping gems all over our comments. Curtis says, honestly, I think many people aren't ready to pull the trigger on significant and real change. So I guess I'm taking it, Curtis. You mean people will book for events and then almost get frightened about what they might learn that they have to change, which is true. But for some, I don't think many people think about it. I think people just click, Christina. They don't. Many actually don't think. I think some of it's a symptom of who we're friends with. Our friends would just accept every invitation we send. I send them every day. I believe you. I know people just they just click and they don't even read the description. There's other people who click almost to fool you. They want you to think you've got loads of RSVP so you can relax, but we know better. We know the DMs that gets us rude people in the room. I know that, and there's many reasons I send DMs apart from just get people in the room. So everyone I send a DM to with a link for today's event, when they go back to the LinkedIn tomorrow, they're gonna see the video playing in front of them. So I try and get hundreds of people to be in that situation. What was the next one I was going to show? Mr. Curtis. It says, I think some people can be so fixated on their RSS systems, they hold on to processes and systems that haven't worked in the hope that if they wait a bit longer, something will in fact work. Guaranteed not to work, right? And then people just don't want to change. Some people, they hate doing DMs. I live on DMs. I always have done on LinkedIn. DMs is everything. As Ara was saying, if you learn DM etiquette to be a real person on your DMs, your LinkedIn life would change. And that's the point Christina and I are making today. Learn how to send DMs that are personable, that are truly genuine from your heart. Not a sales pitch, a proper DM that might get you there, right? Alavine, I see you as well. Welcome. Mr. Mike is here too. Welcome, all of you. Christina, you've been quiet way too long. Talk to us. What's your...
Okay. Well, I was listening to some of the frustrations here, right? Is this a scam? Is this a real thing? That's, the hurdle that a lot of business owners that are getting their first stab at trying LinkedIn, they run across. And the thing is, as much as you love DMs, and I love DMs too, Annie, is that somebody gave DMs a bad name, and it's all these automated DMs. So it's very simple. If I'm looking at an RSVP list, or a list of subscribers, or a list of people there where, browsing my profile, of course the initial DM is gonna be, short and sweet and the same. What brought you here? What piqued your interest? Those kind of things, right? But then those DMs are not the ones that are going to do anything for you, or all of a sudden, here, let's send you the Calendly link, right? And the Calendly link also their own its own process. What we need to do now is listen and qualify. And listen and qualify happens the moment somebody responds to you saying, okay, you did RSVP. What did you want to know? What did you want to learn? What did you find interesting? And then you just wait to see if somebody expresses that they have a real problem and they need a solution, and they didn't have time to listen to the event because they don't have much time in their day, and they might need a done for you solution that is quick. Or maybe it's somebody that they're trying to figure it out and they really want to learn, but they need somebody to hold their hands and really support them every step of the way. And that's a done with you solution that they get. So what I don't do is send people a PDF, or tell people that if you say this word, then I give you a whole free system. I don't send people 10 tips to make money on LinkedIn, and I don't coach for free in the DMs. So those are the things that I don't do, and those are the things that anybody as a business owner shouldn't be doing. When you want to build your authority, and when you want to build value, articles, you can do newsletters. You can explain things there using long form of content, right? But the reason why you do those things, in other words, every action that you do has a purpose in your business. Everything that you're doing, the event, the newsletter, the post, the DM, the comment, think of it as functions in your operations, in your business. Everything that you do, you have to assign a role to it. If you don't do that, if you don't have your own intent clear, you don't assign those roles, then everything is random, and everything is posting, hoping and praying, or thinking that because now you booked a coffee chat, something is going to happen. And the truth is that just like somebody gave DMs a bad name. Others, people have people have different ideas about different way to communicate with people and chats. So just the other day, there was a post, and then I made my own contrarian post about the no pitch coffee chat, right? And the no pitch coffee chat is the biggest hook for a pitch that ever was. Very few people they really sit there for an hour because they want to find out more about you, and because they really just wanted to exchange some ideas and meet somebody, maybe to do something with, or just to somebody to have a business buddy, or somebody that is going through the same things that they're going through. And those are valuable, and those are the original and true coffee chat, right? But when somebody says no pitch coffee chat, and then at the end of it there is exactly what you're doing, how much it costs, and what you're selling, then it is not a coffee chat. Now, it's okay to have those, but let's not call them no pitch coffee chat, right? And if something is called something different, discovery call, assessment call, intake call, then pay attention to what this call is called, right? Because you don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to waste anybody else's time. Not that the person that you're going to be talking to is not interested in you and your struggles and what you have to do and what you have to say. But at a certain point, if you're running a business and LinkedIn is one of the tools that you do use, and you get on calls with people, you have to explain that this call is the call that you're going to be using to see if there is alignment, if there is something they need that you can solve, and how you can support. It's not a free training. And so it goes both ways. So it starts with these DMs. It starts with this RSVP list. They start when somebody subscribes to your content. These are all things that you do to listen and qualify, so that you don't just go randomly and meet with somebody 8 hours a day, and then it's dinner time, and you say, how did work go, honey? Oh, great. I had so many talks. Did any of them materialize into something? I know it sounds harsh, but if you're listening to this today, I know that you're not miles away. I know that you're understanding what I'm talking about, because you're not just a consumer, you're also running a business. If you're thinking, if you wanted to know about the SVP paradox and what happens when a bunch of people are SVPing and only 5 people show up, if you read the description, it says stop leaving money on the events table. So if you were interested in this, it means you're doing events, and it means you're not making a lot of money out of these events. You're not listening and qualifying, or you don't have a system to listen and qualify. Now, everything that I said here today, right, you could probably DIY yourself and see if it works. And I'm glad if you get something out of this and you're going to be doing that. But the work that I really do is not that. The work that I really do, it starts at the qualifying point. It starts the moment you decide to pick a topic for your event. It starts the moment you decide to create context for your topics, your events. That's how you draw people to you and to your business. And that's actually so much more than that. I said at the beginning of this conversation that we're doing this today, and then later on I'll send a couple of minutes or a minute recap, to everybody that said that they were attending, right? And that's just for info. Some people might reply, nobody might reply. That's okay. But then I will keep talking about this very topic, probably in the next few weeks, and engage on similar topics, on content created by other creators, and give my 2 cents worth, give my point of view. All this is creating something really important, that it's more than a lead magnet. It's more than an email list. It's creating a footprint, and it's linked to your events. The way this you're creating this footprint is that once the live is gone, there is the written word, the one that stays. The events you can play them over and over, right? But the written words is what registers with the large language models, what registers with the AEO, with the SEO, and for you to be a recognized authority on the particular topic that you chose. I chose this title on purpose, right? If you don't write about it, if you don't keep talking about it and explain it, then you're all hour and a half here, hour and something minutes, it's for nothing. So this event is not to try to get people or get clients. This event is to listen and qualify. This event is to help those that are really listening. They might not be ready today, but I know I shared enough value here that a couple of light bulbs, light up and said, I don't do that. I'm going to try to do it. And that's great. But at the same time, I'm sharing that I help people build entire pipelines out of these and other LinkedIn actions that you do. And as by assigning role to every action and creating a strategy so that your march doesn't end empty-handed. So that what you do every time you go live, every time you do a post, every time you do a newsletter, every time you're engaging with somebody, you're not doing randomly. You have something, a specific thing that you're sharing so that you can get in conversations with those that want to have the conversation. It's not to force stuff down people's throats, right? It's engaging in these conversations with those that really need your support. I know there are people that really need my support, but I know that it's not everybody listening. I know that people are just interested while they're building their business silently and they're taking notes, and that's okay. But at the same time, I know that there is that one person that has listened to this live and has listened to other lives and has subscribed to my newsletter that is trying to make a decision here. And the decision is, do I want to work with Christina? And I know that I'm here to tell them I'm here, and that's how you reach me. And they'll probably receive a message from me today. And maybe they won't take action today, but in a month they might. To build cash flow, to build a predictable revenue and a predictable pipeline, everything has to work together. Everything that you do, every actions you do cannot be taken for granted. And the RSVPs have been the biggest paradox that ever was, because you think only 3 people showed up and they do exactly what I do. So what's going on here? They're not going to be my clients. I'm not going to be able to support them in my services. But that's not why you did this. You did this to get the notoriety, and you did this to get to know who might be interested because they need a solution that you have. But it doesn't work like that you're here and you're just waiting now for business to come in. You have to ask. The other day somebody shared this video of Steve Jobs, and I reposted it because I'm a fan, and I really liked what he was saying. He was saying that when he was 12 years old, he called the guy at HP and said that he needed a computer part because he was working on a school project at 12 years old. And out of that, he got the parts, he got all the materials and all the equipment that he needed for his school project, but also got an internship at a company. So that's what happens when you just ask. If you need something, ask. If you have something that you're offering, let people know that this is what you're offering. I'll give it back to you, Annie.
And I agree with you 100%. A lot of people don't want to ask. A lot of people want to ask when it's way too soon. I think it's finding the perfect balance, right? Finding the balance not to give everything away, and also to be open. I think we have to be just, as Zara was saying, we have to learn to communicate and build that relationship. It's not a random thing. It is. It's about doing all the things you say, Christina. We have to do everything. People come to me for marketing, and they think I'm going to do magic. I don't do magic. I do one thing that you pay me for, whatever that may be. That could be events, that could be email, that could be social media. But I expect you to do the rest, to find the other methods that might work for you. Yeah, yes, I'm a done for you service on one hand, but I'm not going to do everything, because no one pays me anywhere near enough to do everything for them, right? But I think on the event front, it is that clarity we need. Why are you doing this? And then how do you stay consistent? Again, you see, I do the same. I do many events, but I have the same audience for each, for different events. I'm saying that there's a reason for that. There's different people RSVP for different things, right? And my co-hosts have to go and respond to them. I think one thing we haven't mentioned today, we mentioned the RSVP, but I think also the comments is another gold mine for any event host. You have to work the comments. You respond to everyone. This is all my friends who I co-host with have to go in the comments and respond to everyone. Respond to people, because you might find some comments there that says, "I'm interested. Can you help me?" Don't just ignore these golden lists. And literally, but don't be in too much of a hurry to sell to anyone. Some people say they won't meet with you unless you pay them money. They call it a consultation, Christina. I tend to avoid them and say, look, here's the last I'll say. I don't know if Zara has anything wants to add before we go. Now, the last thing I'll say, and I think you have a very good point, Christina, when you say we have to be mindful of other hosts, other events. So it's crazy to do events and ignore other people who do events. Because at the very least, when you go to their events, you're building that relationship, and also you're tapping into their audience. People do it to me every day. It's fine. It's a game we're in. It's a job we're in, right? They come to my events and they get clients. I'm like, good for you. Because I was maybe we don't do the same thing, so I can never I couldn't serve them anyway. I'm saying, but you want to go to other people's events and support them. And I support them and do exactly what we're saying for your RSVP list. If you join someone, let's say I join Curtis's event, for example, I know I'm going to meet a unique audience, his unique audience. And again, I go back to the rule that LinkedIn has, which is, it's one of the best things about events that people ignore, Christina, which is the fact that if you're at an event, you can message everyone who's there, everyone, whether you're connected to them or not. So you can work their RSVP list too. Hi, I was in the same event as you, in Curtis's event earlier. I don't know. Either I really liked your point or whatever. Say something. Have a conversation. These are all the ways that we can use this RSVP list to our advantage. Don't leave money on the table. I mean, people do it every day, right? Zara, we're about to go, my friend. I wonder whether you have anything you want to add, unless you've passed out already. I know it's very late to your time. It's about 3 a.m. Zara time, right?
Then I'll close it.
Cool. Zara, anything you want to say?
See, yes, Ramal. We need to know about that. We learn about this. We have to master this, and it's trials and error. And Ramadan Mubarak, we are up here because this fasting Ramadan. So yeah, learning with trials and error every day, having conversations one by one, understanding. Because in my business, I have to understand the people and their problem. Yesterday, I was in Leslie's event. She cannot see from one eye, and she has lost the vision. That me. I made a content. I went to the DM. I told her that this product is not expensive. I mean, just $25. Okay. But I know what is in that product. Okay. I know that this product is going to change her eyesight. And it's available there on the US store. But to make them understand that they have to use a product, make their mind to go on the web store, purchase it, and to convert, to all the benefits there. Every benefit is there. They already know that. But to make up a mind of a person to try this product at least, to instead to see it, maybe after 30 days you're going to pray for me and you're going to say, okay, Zarar recommended me something and now my eyesight is getting better. So it's actually the people and their own conscious choices which they to take once you're going to be consistent and keep focus on your business, keep sharing. And one day, okay, they make up their mind, okay, let's try this product, this time, this one, this time, this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree, my friend.
And I wish, I mean, Christina, I mean, I saw like,
Yes, they all say Christina's a genius. They all do.
Oh,
Welcome. It's a good thing, Christina. Everyone, it's not everyone saying that there are people who sing your praises, and it's a joy. I must say, it's a joy. It means you're doing something right? You're doing something useful. I don't know who's Aluvine just joined us. We're just about to go out the door, Aluvine. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Finally, I reached it. I did it. It was impossible. I was kicked out multiple times before here and being able to talk with you. So, hello, hope you are doing well. I'm really happy to hear from you and to learn from you. That's all for now.
Thank you for joining us. What's your take on the RSVP list? Do you? I suppose I could try and understand the whole issue from your perspective. So when you RSVP for events, do you intend to be there? Do you put it in your diary? I don't, by the way. I'm just saying.
If I say yes to my RIVP, I will be sure to be there, because for me it is like a promise. It is like I said, I'll be there. So let's say I make sure that I can be there. Sometimes I can. It is rare, and it's like your event, with the ticket. Unfortunately, I already had something, so I couldn't attend. So moment I wanted to do that, but yes. But if I say yes to something,
Yeah.
I try to be there because it's very important to do that. And when I do that, when I have a
We say we're losing your sound. So I don't know. You see, I think you need to move somewhere where you're a bit more connected. I don't know. You need to move right, move left, do something.
what she said though was really valuable, and
Yeah.
that's a matter of fact. I saw a couple of polls running around the last couple of weeks because I was looking for this particular topic, and I think it was about 60% said if I'm RSVPs, I intend to be there, and then there was another 27% is because they were interested in the topic and they were going to watch it later. So, and that shows, I mean, it's not just theory, it shows when you look at how many times something was viewed. So it's not just theory. That's why today we're here discussing this very topic. And then you were saying something about I go to other people's events, right? That's an opportunity. And somewhere there's going to be an event, maybe this week or in the next few weeks, about this very topic discussed by somebody else. And that's okay, because it's not like if, you said genius, right? Genius is something that it's not a person. Genius is an idea that floats around, and then if you grab it, then you're doing something with it, you're creating something with it. So this idea has been floating around, so I grabbed it and I'm creating something with it. And somebody else will grab it and then will create something with it, and maybe with something different, with a little pivot, because it's uniquely theirs. So not everything is going to be looking exactly the same. But yes, if you go to somebody's events and then your job is to engage with those people, again, listening and qualifying, there are a whole list of people that you don't know, right? So the first thing that you do to listen and qualify is that you actually look at their profiles, make it part of your routine. Spend the 30 minutes looking at the profiles of these people that attended these events, and decide. And I learned to do these in the last couple of years. Before that, I wasn't paying too much attention to it. First thing I look at, are they active on LinkedIn? Do they post every 2 months? Do they comment every 2 months? Or they're here at least once a week? If they're here, then I want to connect with them. I want to invite them to events. I want to tell them I have a newsletter. I want to tell them what I do, because they were engaged with the same topic I discussed. If they're not here, then no, right? That's the thing. I just don't, because you can have 5,000 followers, but if you're only talking to 20 people out of those 5,000, you got 20 people that you know. Nobody knows you. So that's the thing. So if you're growing, if you're connected with people, you have to do it with purpose. So this filtering is very important. Now, when the conversation shifts, right? When you're looking at this RSVP list, just to recap, and you're sending those messages, when does the DM now moves from theory to the exact situation? The moment they say, I need help with this. And if they're telling you, I need help with this, it means that they need more help than what they got by listening to you. So this is when I say, this is what I build in a roadmap intensive. I'm up your LinkedIn pipeline. I help you write your messaging and help you set your routines. If you want to help, start here. And if anybody's interested, that's $5.99. And within a week, you're all set to go. And to keep going by on your own and by yourself. So no apology, no I hope it's okay, because at that point, they said, I need your help. You have to, this is the work, right? It's within a container. And as work that it is within a container, now it has a price. So that's the whole thing. Now it has a price. And that's what it is. And if anyone is interested, of course, I'll put something in the comments. But again, this event, it's as education as a purpose, right? A couple of actually angles. One is educational purposes for those that are, aficionados. They come here, they're learning. There is a lot of things shared that if they're paying attention, they can try the DIY version. If they have the time and they're willing to do it, kudos to them, because that's how I built most of my business, right? But if they're at a point where they want some guidance because they're not sure, then that's when the conversation will go from DM, from theory to the exact situation. And when they ask you, yes, I have a problem, and do you know how to fix this? So that's, in other words, what I wanted to end this with. And I want to thank you, Annie, for your time. for putting all of these together. And anybody that is listening either on replay or live. And I am happy that you actually agreed with me, because sometimes we butt heads on the
No,
SVP. On the,
we can agree on this one, yeah, because I think the point is what it is, right? So
yes, the
I've
point
always
is what
known
it
to
is.
make use of that list. Use that list. It's almost as good as your email list. If you truly work it into conversations. If you try and sell through it, like all things, when you pitch people, you lose 99% of them. Let's learn to take it easy, but let's learn not to leave people who are showing interest behind. That's what we're saying, really. You know. Thank you so much, Christina. So we're back again in 2 weeks. By the time we come back, you're gonna start seeing the link to book for the masterclass about how to earn your first 10K month on LinkedIn. So it's, again, of course, it's a masterclass, so there's a price, but we'll get to that in good time. Meanwhile, connect with Christina. If you want help to build your business, come to me after you built your business. Then I can do events with you. And then come to me after you built your business. That way, I can help you write your book and publish your book. Yay! Zara
That's
is.
a huge part, Annie, about publishing your book. Because just like the RSVP is to build authority, right? So people choose different things or combine a bunch of them. One could be the live, one could be the book. But if you're starting out and you left your corporate life and now you decided to be a recognized expert in something really specific, if the job or your work history and career is a little bit misaligned, what you need is something to give you authority. And
Yeah,
what Annie does exactly that.
yeah,
And not only he helps them with the book, but also guides them to throughout all the LinkedIn tools, how to get recognized, doing the lives, helping them getting in front of a camera and actually discussing those topics that make them recognized experts.
I'm glad you said that. So Zara and I are gonna do. So we're gonna start Zara off with these live events in the next couple of weeks. So we're gonna do a room based on Zara's topics,
Yeah.
Zara's products, Zara's services. So it is that. And I always say, Christina, the first event I do with you is free. After that, if you want to carry on, we have to talk numbers, right? I run a business. I can't. But it's cool. It's cool. Now, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone, who's given us your time tonight. So I'm going to have a quick rest, and then I have to drive 7 hours. So I get to the other side of London tomorrow. Wish me luck. Well, enjoy your evening, my friends. Enjoy your evening.
Have a
Zara,
safe
thank you so
journey.
much,
Have a
my
safe
friend.
journey.
It was great to have you, as always. I always do. Let's hope so, right? Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.